Alright guys, before we get started with this video, I wrote a message because I did not want to miss anything that I had to say. So first of all, I want to express my deepest gratitude to every single one of you, our subscribers, and even those who aren't subscribed but still show up for us every single time we drop a video. Your support has meant more than you know. This year has been tough, and there were moments where creating content felt almost impossible. Through all of that, I want to give a special thanks to Ben, who has shown up for this channel with consistency, loyalty, and heart, especially during the times when I was struggling behind the scenes. Your presence kept this channel alive when I couldn't. Earlier this year in March, we were approached by Hooligan Soccer Network and partnered with them to become part of their football network. That partnership opened doors we never imagined. Launching our podcast on Spotify, getting our articles featured on the OneFootball app, and hosting our platform on their network. None of that would have happened without you showing up for us the way you did. You made that possible. Thank you. Looking ahead this year, we're excited to revive the Catch-Up Show, featuring both myself and Ben. It will be exclusively hosted on Spotify, giving you the freedom to listen or watch wherever you go. We're genuinely excited to bring it back and bigger in a better way. Your continued support is what allows us to unlock new opportunities that help us grow, improve, and bring even better content to this channel. And we want to keep building with you. We also noticed that a lot of you who watch regularly aren't subscribed yet. So if you're enjoying the content, would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video when it drops. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Yeah, so that's 8 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses so far this season. We're still yet to face Wolves to complete the first half of this first season. So let's have an honest conversation. How have United fared so far this season? How has Ruben Amorim fared so far this season? And let's be genuine, all right? So I want you guys in the comment section to talk to me. I'm going to give you my opinion, and I want to hear yours, all right? So let's start from the beginning. United came into this season finishing in our worst position ever, all right? We had a lot of players that we needed to move on. There are a lot of players that we needed to bring in, okay? So far, we've lost the likes of Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Victor Lindelof, Andre Onana, who else? The list goes on, right? You guys know who United got rid of. And in turn, we got Mateus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, 2 proven Premier League players who both got more than 20 goals last season. So clearly, the aim was to bolster the midfield, bolster our attack, and give us more players that can score more goals, because that was one area of concern that we were lacking last season. All right, we brought in Benjamin Sesko, we brought in Diego Leon, and eventually we managed to secure a solid goalkeeper, Sammy Lemens. All right, so didn't start off great. Home game, lost to Arsenal. At that time, arguably our best game that we played after, I think, 5 or 6 games. We kept making reference back to that game, saying that, look, how we played against Arsenal. Yes, we lost, but you could see how the system, because that's been a hot topic of discussion for Ruben Amorim, is that system. Is the system working? When it works well, he's praised. When it doesn't work well in our favor, he's absolutely slaughtered to the wolves, okay? The only time Ruben Amorim has been forced to sort of change his system was this previous game that we played against Newcastle. Now, obviously, he had to do that because we do not have a lot of first team starting players at our disposal. We've lost Amad Diallo, Bryan Mbeumo, Mazarawi to the AFCON. We have Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo in the midfield who are injured. And then, of course, we've got Harry Maguire and Matthias de Ligt in our defense. So we've had to use players like Aiden Heaven, who has just he's still young, right? He's still starting his journey. Okay, so but he is showing small signs of improvement. Even Ruben Amrin spoke about how he's adapting during the game, how he's growing as more game time is awarded to him. All right, but overall, okay, it's been a tough first start to the season. I mean, just going back and looking at the first fixtures that we had, we're playing the top 5 best teams in our first 8 fixtures. It was always going to be difficult for us. But the key thing was weather the storm and get the points. But we didn't, right? United lost a lot of opportunities to pick up valuable points that we needed to creep ourselves into the top 4, right? A lot of opportunities. Liverpool this season is going through one of their worst seasons since they basically started becoming good again. All right, there's been the drama that's happening at Liverpool. United, we I don't want to say we're used to it, but we've become accustomed to it. All right, we've become accustomed to this type of drama. And Liverpool, it looks like they might lose Mohamed Salah, but even though they're going to lose one of their key players at the club, they still have a lot of good players on their roster. And say what you may and make all the bans about Fitz and Frimpong and, all these other signings that they brought in. Right now, they're currently sitting ahead of us in the Premier League table. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't, because we should have done the necessary things that we needed to do. Right? We should have got those points when we drop points. 8 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses. I don't want to say it's not good enough. All right. I think Ruben Amrin, like he says time and time again in his press conferences, he's doing everything right in training. Everything looks good until that point when the players step onto the pitch and it becomes a different story. And there's truth in what he says, because there are moments in the game where you can see these players playing Ruben Amrin ball. And then there's moments where you see United players backtracking to their cluelessness on the pitch. So what he's speaking is the truth. He's not going out there and saying things out of his ass. Right? We can see it for our own 2 eyes. The change in mentality, the change in how these players are going out there and playing their ball. Most recently, me and Ben had a little back and forth about Kobe Mainoo, right? And we kept going back to that Grimsby game, the game that took us out of the Carabao competition. And we're talking about Kobe Mainoo. Why is Kobe Mainoo not getting game time? Is he really good enough? Is he a generational talent? Should he leave? This and that. Why is Ruben not starting him? Etc. etc. And then when I deeped that conversation and I went back to that Carabao game, I started to understand more of what Ben was saying, where he was coming from, talking about those players who were involved in the Carabao competition. That was their competition. That was the competition that they had in their hands to own, for them to get the game time, for them to improve, to get better. That's where we have been seeing a lot of the Aiden Heavens, right? The Ugates, the Kobes, you know what I mean? That was going to be their spot to be getting the game time. Binder, who's still at the club, right? That was going to be an opportunity for him to be our number 1 goalkeeper in that competition. But they messed it up. They messed it up. They could not be trusted to get a win against Grimsby Town, guys. Grimsby Town. And that game foreshadowed what was going to come of our season. Literally, we're not even like 5-6 games into the season and already we're losing to teams like Grimsby. That already set a bad precedent for what this season was going to look like. And now we've reached mid-season. Like I said, 8 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses. And from those 5 losses and from those 5 draws, we could have got points. United have been poor away games. I think this season we've only lost twice at home, if I'm not mistaken. Arsenal was one of them. And I think the other was it Crystal? No? I can't remember. But anyway, we haven't had a good record. All right. Our away record needs to improve. We're going into January. I've spoken about this time and time again. United do not have a good record when it comes to the January transfer window. Our best January transfer window was getting Bruno Fernandes. Before, after, there's been nothing good that's come out from the January transfer window. And already we're starting to hear rumors about financials, this and that. United can't afford players, etc., etc. We've taken a hit because not involved in the European competition, so there's no money. I don't know where that leaves us going into this January transfer window. We've been linked with so many players, right? Obviously, the one on everyone's lips is Antoine Semenyo. But Antoine Semenyo it's really been made public knowledge that he doesn't want to come to United. Or rather, United is not an option for him. So we can throw that option out the window. But when I was having a conversation with Ben, I was saying that, and this is before even this news came out, that United need to be looking at what we need to address. And that's a box-to-box or a CDM. That's what we need. And right now, it looks like we might even need defenders. Because that defense, the squad depth in the defensive, position is looking very thin. The players that we have available seem not to be good enough. Martinez just came back from injury, so his minutes need to be managed, right? Because we don't want to risk him getting injured again, because he's a very key and critical player in the United system, in the United team. So where does that leave us? Where does this leave United going into the second half of the season? And where do I predict United will finish at the end of the season? Well, here's my chain of thought. All right. United right now are currently sitting at 7th. I'm recording this video before the results of the Crystal Palace game have come out, and there's one other team, if they get results today, they'll go ahead of us, and then we might be pushed down to 9th, but it all depends. All right. But either way, here's one thing I know for certain. Sunderland will drop. Okay. We will finish ahead of Sunderland, and only because United have a much deeper squad than they do. We've got better players. United, I think, will have the ability to finish ahead of Sunderland. I think we stand a better opportunity and chance to get those points that Sunderland will not be able to get, which will make them drop places and which will make us finish above them. Okay? Chelsea. I don't think United will finish ahead of Chelsea. Even though United currently have scored more goals so far this season over Chelsea, I think by 2 goals. I think we've scored 32 goals so far this season, Chelsea 30. United have conceded more goals than Chelsea, and we've seen us drop a lot of points where we shouldn't be dropping points. And truth be told, Chelsea's sort of in that same boat. But I still think that Chelsea will still have it in them to finish above us, only because, and like I said, that they're conceding less goals than what we are conceding. And I think that might play in their favor by the end of the season, determining who will finish above the other. All right. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, that's your top 4 right there. All right. Villa looking very strong this season, looking very consistent this season. I don't see them dropping any unnecessary points to knock them out of the top 5. All right. Chelsea, like I said, they're doing enough just to stay afloat. And I think with our advantage of not being involved in any other competition, we should be able to be in that top 6 by the end of the season, right? Now, it all just depends. Do we finish 5th? Do we finish 6th? And like I said, I think we finish 6th. I think United finish 6th, Chelsea finish 5th, Aston Villa 4, Liverpool, I think 3rd. I don't know. I just don't see Liverpool really turning it around so much that they managed to go ahead of Villa, City, and Arsenal. Now, 1 and 2, it honestly all depends on Arsenal, right? Because City are right behind them. Right behind them. It takes one slip up. One slip up. If they allow City to go first, that's it. Right? But United, I comfortably have them finishing in 6th position. Right? So, like I said, I don't have high hopes for the January transfer window. What I am banking on moving forward is obviously getting our players back from AFCON, having Matthias de Ligt and Harry Maguire fit, right, to strengthen that defensive line. And then obviously in the midfield, Casemiro has been good for us so far. No complaints there. Bruno Fernandes going to get back from injury. Hopefully, if everything's sorted out with Kobe Mainoo, Ugarte is not really looking that good in the midfield, but I guess because maybe he hasn't had a lot of game time. But again, his confidence also doesn't look so good. He's losing a lot of balls in that Newcastle game, even in the game before that one. So he's not really looking very confident. I don't think he's going to be getting any more game time than what he currently is as soon as Bruno gets back into the squad or Kobe Mainoo. So with that being said, I think that United will finish 6th by the end of the season. So that's my prediction going to the next season. But anyway, guys, next game, Wolves. We hope to get a point, right? Getting a point from Wolves hopefully puts us back into that top 6 again. All depends on the results from the other teams, but that's what we look forward to. And again, guys, thank you for all your support that you've shown to the Glory Reds channel this year. We've managed to hit over 100 subscribers. We're planning for 2 this year. Not being too picky, all right? And wishing you all happy festive period. I know I didn't come out and say Merry Christmas, but it's already past, so belated Merry Christmas, I guess. And have a happy and a safe New Year's, and we'll see you guys in the new year. But yeah, with that being said, I'm out. Peace.